you're not on the camera, unless you choose to be. If you quickly run through it, then you will be, obviously, or you pipe up, they'll be on it then as well. So that's that covered. Obviously, remember it's your practice, all right? I have to remind you of that, only because I know how easy it is to forget that. You know, it's easy to get lost, to let the ego drive us and to want to push and try and do things and perform and keep up. It's easy to see other people do something and think, oh, I can't do that, or I want to do that, or I used to be able to do that, you know, and be lost with these images, these past images of ourselves, or these ideas of the future and the future self that we want, you know, to work towards. And whilst we're doing that, it means we're not present, you know? It means we're constantly preoccupied with this or that. It's this state of conflict that ideally we want to avoid being the basis for the way that we move and the way that we practice and the way that we breathe, all right? It's not to say that it's, you know, you should be free of conflict entirely. That would be a nice world to live in, wouldn't it? But we need to work towards that state of stillness and peace where we're not being pulled from pillar to post, you know, and where we can just be present with the vessel as it is, with the body as it is, and move, you know, in accordance with that, if you like, and breathe in a way that's authentic and appropriate as well. You know, does that make sense to everyone? Good stuff. All right. Have we got ailments or injuries or conditions or anything that I might need to know about that I don't already, that's relevant to your practice at all? No, that's good news. That does happen sometimes, so that's good news. All right, lovely. Or anything private that you might need to tell me that relates to your practice as well? No, okay, lovely stuff. All right, just a reminder as well, I'll try to give options. We're going to spend most of our time, in fact, we'll spend all the time on the ground, as in not standing position. So we'll start seated, and then we'll work our way down onto our backs, and maybe head towards a more restorative practice. And we know roughly, obviously it's open to interpretation, but my interpretation of the difference between a restorative practice and maybe something like a yin practice, which can also be restorative, of course, is primarily that we work under load of some sort when we're in a yin practice, right? Obviously there is the philosophy that can accompany that often, but we work under load. So it might be putting the muscles or the tendons, ligaments under load, and then spending quite a long time, 3-5 minutes, maybe sometimes longer, in a position. And it's that kind of position where you look forward to getting out of it, but you're not sure how you're going to get out of it. That makes it the yin. For me, that's the experiences I've had over the years anyway. Whereas a restorative practice is more of a position where once you're in it and you spend that amount of time in it, you're not sure if you're going to be able to stay awake or not. That's your primary concern. So that's the way I've always identified the difference between the practices. So we'll go for the latter, the snoozy one, the dozy one today, although we will stretch quite deeply at times and have a little bit of movement interjected in between. All right, this particular sequence is actually about 2 hours long, so we're just taking a snippet of it. All right. Have we got questions? No, of course not. All right, we're seated, so we'll start seated. Try and sit nice and tall, soften through the shoulders, soften through the legs. So ideally we want to find a position that facilitates forgetting the body for a moment, but not entirely, because we're bringing our awareness, ironically, to the body. But instead of feeling like we're contained by it, we want to step back in a sense and observe it as almost as if it's separate from ourselves. So scan head to sit bones or head to toe. Be aware of all the sensations of the body, the sensation of the cool air on the skin. It's been quite a warm day and it's a little cooler in here than it is outside, so perhaps it's quite comforting to feel that cool air. Maybe there's a dampness to the skin. That means we can feel that heightened sense of cooling as the sweat evaporates. But also we allow the awareness to seep a little deeper as well beneath the surface. Notice the sensations in the joints, in the tendons, the ligaments, the muscles. Perhaps we're aware of areas of fatigue or stress, inflammation. We might have a little injury that's been niggling at us that we're aware of. Just observe that, acknowledge it, but don't react. allow the awareness to shift a layer below, a little deeper again, to the energetic body, pranamaya, that's the body of breath. And acknowledge the sensation of the breath as it delivers that energy on the inward breath, expanding, that spiral up as we inhale, radiate out through the heart space, through the crown. Almost makes us sit taller as we do so. And then the downward sinking embrace as we release the breath and constrict. That grounding sensation. As we draw the breath in, take the arms wide and high, reach up. Connect your palms above the head. Option to take the gaze skywards here as well. Maybe drop the head back if the neck allows. Expand the abdomen and the rib cage. And then as you release your breath, fold over the legs. Catch the weight, slide your hands or walk them forwards. Take a bow. Don't feel like you need to get your head down onto the ground. Just try to use that fold forwards to tug on the lower back and increase the demand on the hips and on the knees for mobility. Take an inward breath, start to rise slightly, walk your hands over towards the left side, just to wherever's available, and take a bow, maybe over the left knee. As you inhale, breathe into your right side, almost push into the right hip slightly, and then with the exhalation, sink a little deeper, maybe soften the arms. Another inward breath to rise again, just enough to come onto the fingertips and walk the hands through the center. Head over to your right side. As you release your breath, take a bow over your right knee. Inward breath to breathe and expand into the left side of the body. Almost push into your left hip, left knee slightly here. Notice that tension between the hip and the knee. And then exhale to take a bow over your right knee or somewhere in that direction. Soften slightly. Beginning to rise again back onto the fingertips on the inward breath. Walk the hands all the way through the center, back over towards the left side. Ground the left palm somewhere near the left hip with a bend in your left arm, and then sweep your right arm up towards the sky. Gaze up from underneath. Enjoy a deep stretch down the right side of the body. Expand the right side of the rib cage. Start to come back up through the center. Connect the left palm to the right. Inhale to reach. Exhalation, drop your other hand, your right hand down near the right hip, a bend in your right arm, and lean to the right side. Look up from underneath the left arm or the left armpit. Try to pull the left shoulder back just enough to open the heart space. Big expansion into your left side. And as you exhale, start to soften and turn your heart space and your head towards the earth. Gaze down to the right hand. Bring your left hand down to the ground. And then sweep and walk your arms back round to the center. Take a bow. And release the breath here. And then one of the few times that we inhale as we round off and rise. So start to slide the hands back. Take an inward breath here. And then as we catch the knees in the palms, exhale, push the spine back. Continue to tuck the chin and shrug the shoulders. Inward breath, come forward, Supavista, Vittalasana. Lift your chin, draw your shoulders back, open the heart space. Try and push out through your tailbone. Then exhale to sink down and back. Inhalation, come forwards and upwards again. Adjust the hands, bring them on top of the knees or part of the thigh just above the knee on the inner thigh. Exhale one more time, down and back, round off. And then come back to a neutral position. Connect your palms in front of your heart space. On the inward breath, reach up, find length, same as before. We'll bring the shoulders into play this time, so bring the backs of the palms together. Start to swan dive your arms down. Search for a bind behind your tailbone. You can tuck your chin to facilitate that. And then roll your shoulders back, open your heart space, lift your chin, sit forward slightly and start to lift your hands away from the tailbone, slow and steady. Got a nice tall spine. Notice that broadening across the heart space. As we start to exhale and soften, bring the hands back towards the tailbone. Don't ping the arms off. Instead, keep them there. Round off, shrug the shoulders, tuck the chin, then release the bind. Hands go back past the hips about 6 inches and off at a slight angle as well. Then roll the shoulders back again. Inward breath to lean into the heels of the palms. And remember, the narrower the hands are, the deeper it will be. That demand on the shoulders across the scapula at the back and maybe up by the collarbones as well. So if it feels too much too soon, just widen the stance. Maybe even point the fingertips out as well. That makes it a little softer. Option to drop your head back and lift your chin, and even start to push the knees towards the earth and lift the hips as well. So almost lifting the tailbone up off the floor, maybe a few inches. Depends on what feels available here. On the outward breath, start to bring it back down again. Keep the hands more or less where they are, and then one by one release the legs out in front. We'll take a little bit of movement, so drop left to right, right to left. Just got to knock the rust off. And these sorts of movements, you can take time with these. You can sometimes really get into it and pop the hip and tense the glutes and pop the chest as well. But we won't spend too much. As we come back to our neutral position, our central position, we're heading into the reverse tabletop. So you might need to lengthen slightly, roll the shoulders back, maybe take it low and soft to start with, or lift up and drop the head back if the body allows. Just be aware of cramp here. If the quads, the muscles on the front of the thighs start to cramp up, that's your body saying no thanks. So you'll have to come out or maybe straighten one leg, but definitely don't try to push through it. Big deep breath, let the tummy get big as you inhale. And with the exhalation, bring the hips back down to the ground. Another drop side to side, slow and steady. The destination is the Mrigasana, so it's a deer pose. And we want to take that half peace symbol, the Hindu peace symbol, that swastika with the legs. So drop them over towards the left side. We've got these two right angles that we create with the legs. Reach the right arm towards the sky. Start to pivot on the heel of your left palm. Find length, and then exhale, bring the right hand over the outside or over the back of the left knee. Skip the left hand around to the other side of the mat. Lean into the heel of the palm here. Pop the chest and sit tall. That's an inward breath. And then as you exhale, use the right hand anchored over the back of your left knee to kind of pull against and deepen your twist. The option to peek over your left shoulder. If the spine gives it to you, you may see your right foot in the periphery of the left eye. Try not to slouch into your left shoulder still. Keep that length in the spine. Nice deep cycles of breath. Activate the glutes on the right side as well. So try and push the right hip forward slightly. A very active position. Begin to soften and come out of the twist, but keep the spine fairly tall. You can walk the hands around just enough to sweep the right arm up and over and drop the knees to the opposite side. Remember, as we ground, make sure the legs are more or less in that half swastika shape, then reach left arm to the sky, find length. That's an inward breath. As you exhale, bring your left hand down over the back or the outside of the right knee. Skip your right hand around towards the other side of the mat. Again, pop, sit tall. That's an inward breath. And as you exhale, twist deeper and look over your right shoulder. but don't force the neck here. We want the majority of the twist to go from lower to middle back. I think of it as a progressive twist through the spine as opposed to forcing your neck and trying to twist your head off your shoulders. And remember to breathe and deepen with the exhalation. And again, start to soften. Walk your hands back towards the right knee, just enough to lean into the right heel of the right palm. Left arm goes up and over, and then we'll support our weight to drop side to side. Another return to our reverse tabletop. So try to guess the distance that you need here. Maybe you deepen for the shoulders, so you bring the hands a little narrower. Remember the trick here as well. We want to avoid, despite what others might say to you, pointing the fingers away. Part of what you risk by doing that, if you point the fingers towards the top of the mat, is you risk that hyperextension of the elbow. Some of us have got a tendency for that, especially as we're in a tennis club, right? So if we point away, when we go up, it's very difficult for the elbows to bend and sort of collapse out of the position should they need to. So keep the fingers forwards or towards the outside. That way, at any point, the elbows can give, and we can come out. We're not putting a strain and locking the joint. This kind of forces the joints locked, and we don't want to do that unnecessarily. Roll your shoulders back, lift the hips up, drop the head back if it's available. Exhalation, float your tailbone down and back to between the hands. Nice long legs. Maybe take a moment to lift and then lower. Arms go wide and high, reach up. Dandasana, our seated star. Find length. We almost imagine being led from the heart space, and the Hatha, energy center there. So we're being tugged forwards just enough to stick the tailbone out and really lengthen up and out through the crown. As we exhale, begin to fold from the hips. Keep the spine long and stiff. When you feel that deep resistance in the hamstrings and the lower back, that's your signal to take a bind, maybe around the ankles or the feet if they're available, or if we need a strap or a jumper or a towel or something like that. If the feet are too far away, that can help as well. And deliberately try to wave through the spine. So almost shrug the shoulders, tuck the chin as you begin the inhalation, but at the peak of the inhalation, then get long. So I'll show you with this body. So we kind of round off initially, then inhale, get long. And as you exhale, again, being tugged by the heart with the chin lifted a little closer. We're bringing abdomen closer to thighs. Again, another wave. Up and exhale slightly deeper. Inhale up. Exhale deeper. And just use the breath as a kind of vessel, if you like, to transport you to depth in the position. And depth doesn't necessarily mean, despite what I'm saying to you, how close you are or how close the head is to the shins. It's got dual meanings. We want a good, steady, established lengthening of the posterior chain, but it's early in the practice, so we don't want to force it. That doesn't necessarily mean that the legs have to be straight, right? Just somewhere towards a straighter leg. That's what we're working towards. And try not to round off the upper back. Just a few cycles of breath here. Whilst Andy chats away to himself. And slowly release the tension. Rise enough to take the big toe of the right foot in the right hand, Hasta Padangusthasana, And as we do so, the left hand can slide up the left leg or walk its way up, but essentially we want to just push enough to sit nice and tall and lift the leg, again working towards a straighter position. So if the foot feels like it's not available, it's too far away, you can always hold further up, or we might get a strap or a t-shirt or a towel involved. Let's take gentle movement here just to introduce a little bit of a dynamic stretch down the back of the leg, to the calf, the hamstrings. And then drawing the leg towards the outside and then back in, but we want to kind of make contact between the medial part of the thigh and the outside of the abdomen, something we've been practicing a lot lately, isn't it? For a double bind. So maybe there's a bend and you're pulling in here, sitting tall and then working towards a straighter leg and keeping the spine tall, lengthening up and out through the crown. Or perhaps if you've got the availability there, you're drawing the leg back in and bringing your abdomen and chest forwards to gaze up beyond the toe, or maybe towards the third eye. And we can go elbows wide and really pull in deep, but it might be too early for that. So take your version for 3, for 2, and for 1. Start to bring a bend to your right leg. Guide the sole of your foot into the upper inside of the left thigh for Janu Sirsasana. Remember the trick here, we almost sit forwards, we slide forwards on the sit bones, and the left leg kind of lengthens, and that helps us to draw the right knee down, and we're opening the right hip, activating. So the head of this knee, Janu Sirsasana, Janu is the knee, Sirsasana is the top or the head of this knee, out and down, that termination kind of points out and down towards the earth. And then we're taking this head past this knee, so arms go wide and I reach up. Exhalation, fold over the left leg. And this is a very slight supine twist, we know, because actually our pelvis points this way to sort of 1 or 2 o'clock. So we are actually technically twisting the body a little bit to get over the left leg. But we're still honouring those lines because we're bringing the left shoulder down next to the left knee. Depending on the depth that the body allows you to go to here, you might see if you can soften the quads on the left leg so the kneecap becomes loose and you still maintain a degree of lengthening through the hamstrings and the calf. And slowly releasing your bind, beginning to rise. And we want to roll up the spine here, stack the vertebra one by one, uncoil, bring the hands towards heart center. Then as we sit tall, reach, find length. Soft twist towards the right side. Guide the left hand over the back or the outside of the right knee. Draw the right arm up and around. Lean into the heel of the palm. Pop the chest, sit tall again. And exhale. Again, use the back of the right knee as a kind of anchor point for you to twist again against. And it's the bottom of the exhalation, isn't it? That's when we twist deeper. We create space internally and soften enough, but still keeping the spine active, of course. We need to sit tall. For 5. For 4. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Draw the right arm up towards the sky, send your left hand to meet the right, find length again, a momentary bow on the outward breath over your left leg. Then round off and slide your weight back up, uncoil, search for the big toe, Hasta Padangusthasana on the right side, extend up and out. We don't have to go too high or too extreme because we're sending the left hand through to take a bind around the blade of the foot, or maybe somewhere around the ankle or up the upper calf if it's not available. And again, you don't feel like you can't bend the knee, you absolutely can here. Push away with the bind of the left hand as you reach right hand up towards the sky and send it out and around towards the rear of the mat. And as we push away, we want to sit nice and tall, pull your right shoulder back, push your left shoulder towards the right side. Activate the left leg, the grounded leg as well. Pull the toes back, pull the foot back. Follow your right hand with your gaze up and over the head. Stop when you get to the top. Take a bend in your right leg. Bring it down, the right foot down just above the outside of the left knee. So we're crossing the right ankle over the outside of the left knee. Left hand slides up to the head of the right knee. Then we return towards the rear. Draw your right arm back, out and around, but this time to the ground. Lean into the heel of the palm. Left arm reaches to the sky. So we've got opposites going on here. Left arm slices down over the outside of the right knee. Ardha Matsyendrasana. Pop your chest, inward breath. Exhale, twist a little deeper. Peek over the shoulder again. We know if slicing the left arm over the outside of that right leg doesn't seem to work, it feels like it's not available, the spine doesn't let us twist enough to get the upper arm over the outside, don't worry, you can just hug onto the knee there and pull the knee towards the right, but still try to sit tall and peek over the right shoulder. So take your version. Stay tall in the spine, but soften out of the twist. Draw your right arm up and over again. Search for the big toe one last time. Inhale to sit tall, lift the chin, extend. Almost follow the foot up as we lengthen through the leg. Exhale, slide your left hand down your left thigh, left shin, and take a bow. Paschimottanasana. Then it's a bind on the left side this time. So left hand to left big toe. As we rise, slide in the right hand up the right leg. Some gentle movement here. Sit nice and tall and use that movement to introduce a stretch down the back of the left leg. Then guide the leg towards the outside and back in again for a double bind. You might find the heel or around the back of the calf. And perhaps there's a bend in the knee, that's okay as well. Work towards straightening the leg, of course. If you've got availability here, you might take the elbows wide and pull in a little deeper, gaze up beyond the big toe, beyond the third eye, your Agnya chakra. Sit tall as well, don't let the spine collapse. Exhalation, start to soften at the knee, bend the leg, bring the sole of the foot down towards the inside of the right thigh. Remember, we slide forwards as we start to enter Janu Shirshasana. Push the left knee down towards the earth, so we're opening left hip, arms go wide and high. Reach up. Exhalation, fold over your right leg, slow and steady. And again, it's always leading with the heart space in these folds. We're not kind of collapsing the upper back and folding forwards with the head. It's very almost subconsciously, it's very tempting to do that, but we have to stay tall. It's not that we're trying to look pretty or, like we're doing choreography or something like that. It's very functional. We're lengthening the spine and protecting the vertebra as we sink forwards. Okay, start to release your bind then. Slowly beginning to rise. Uncoiling as we do so. Stack the vertebra, bring your hands to heart center. Then inhale to sit tall and find length. Reach your connected palms towards the sky. It's a soft twist to the left side. So draw right hand down over the back of the left knee, left arm out and around. And remember, we draw this big half circle so that we don't collapse the chest. We don't want the arm to internally rotate and the deltoid, the shoulder, to drop in. So we're deliberately stretching that muscle above the breast, the left breast, as we then sink down, lean into the heel of the palm, pop the chest again, sit tall. Exhale, twist a little deeper, peek over the left shoulder. So the spine's just active enough for us to keep a little bit of space between the vertebrae, but not so much so that we're ultra tense. We don't want to resist the position as we exhale and twist a little deeper. Start to soften out of the twist then, but keep the spine fairly tall. Draw the left arm up and over, right arm or right hand meets the left, and we exhale, fold over the right leg. A momentary return to Janusasana. Then rise again, slide the hands up, search for the big toe of the left foot. We're extending out, not too high this time, just lengthen out through the leg and follow the foot again. Start to sit tall, lift the chin. Then take the bind, right hand goes through, searches for the blade of your left foot, left arm draws up and around, Parivrtta, Crouchasana. Activate, pull the foot back on the right leg as well, the grounded leg. And we almost kick the left foot forwards. There's this kind of rocking forwards motion to sit us nice and tall. And we're pulling the left shoulder back, pushing the right shoulder towards the left side. So another twist, open heart to the left. But notice the pelvis is almost closed off. We're closing off at Sadhisthana. Same funky transition from before. Follow the left hand with the gaze up towards the sky. Reach long through the spine. Bend the left leg. Bring the ankle down over the outside of the right knee. So we're crossing the leg over. That's it. Right hand slides to the head of the left knee. Return out and around with the left hand. Lean into the heel of the palm. Either hug deep here with that right hand around the knee, or if it's available, reach to the sky, then slice the arm down over the outside of the left knee. Remember to pop and sit tall here, so pop the chest out. That's an inward breath. Exhalation, twist a little deeper. And again, we're peeking over the left shoulder. If you get pain in your right elbow when the arm's long like this, you might be hyperextending. You might be kind of locking the joint and forcing against the outside of the knee. That's why sometimes you'll see people with their hands up. It often feels a little more comfortable and less risky for the elbow joint. So you can have the hand up the way as well, the right hand. Just take what feels appropriate for your body. Again, begin to soften out of the twist. Draw the left arm up towards the sky and over. Search for the big toe of the left foot of the same side, that is. Extend out in front, lift the chin, lift the heel. Then right hand slides down, push into the bottom of the right heel as you follow the leg down. Paschimottanasana. We're not staying. Round off through the spine to rise. Keep the shoulders shrugged, chin tucked to the last moment. Hands arrive just in front of the hips, but down by the side. So remember the way we entered, we're going to leave. So widen the feet to hip width. Ground about here, about 6 inches forwards from the hip. That should be more or less your proportions to slide forwards and upwards back to your reverse tabletop. Drop the head back if it feels available. Remember to breathe. Samavritti. Vritti is the the streams of breath that bring prana into the body, some is equal or balanced. So it's balanced breath. Nice equal inhalation and exhalation. As we release the breath this time, bring the hips down, the tailbone down, closer to the heels, but don't force the shoulders. We want to round off through the spine and tuck the chin, but at the same time, almost explode the arms forwards to counterbalance us, for us then to lower down. Ready for bridge, Setu Bandha Chaturanga. So hands down past the hips, push into the heels and lift as high as feels appropriate. So you might feel ready to go nice and deep with your bridge, or perhaps you just take a straight line between the thighs and the torso. We know external rotation of the arms, so palms facing up, helps to bring the scapula underneath the body, and that in turn broadens the heart space. So we kind of get greater depth and we create space internally in the spine there. Outward breath to bring the hips down towards the earth. Widen your arms up here, perpendicular to the body. Drop your knees left to right and right to left. So we're just letting go of any residual tension. These little movements are one way for us to try and make the body a little looser, a little floppier. And come back to stillness in the center. One by one, mindful of the lower back. Hug your knees up and in towards the abdomen. We've got an option as we hug here to lift the head up towards the knees. So you might bring your chin closer, or your nose or your forehead closer. Release the breath, really shrink, activate your core. And then soften just enough whilst you keep hold of the right knee to release your left leg down. So I'm coming off the mat, so I'm going to slide up. That's it. So release the left leg down towards the earth. Keep hold of the right knee. Draw rotations with the right foot here at the ankle. Just clockwise, anti-clockwise. A few rotations on each side. As we bring the foot to stillness, it's left hand to the left hip, right hand goes on top of the right knee, and we'll use that hand to guide the knee, and therefore the femur out and around, draw big steady circles, nice rotations for the right hip here. Just 2 or 3 before guiding the knee out towards the outside. Let the blade of the right foot touch the mat. Slide your right hand to your upper inner thigh, and then deliberately let gravity get involved here. Bring your awareness to your abdomen. Inhale to expand. And outward breath to just let go now. Release, soften. Let the arms, the shoulders go floppy and loose. Try to let the legs be floppy and loose here as well. Don't tense the glutes or the quads. If the mind gets busy in positions like this, bring your awareness to your breath, to that balanced breath that we spoke about, samavriti. One more deep cycle of breath here. As As you exhale, adjust your right hand, bring it underneath the right thigh, press your right elbow into the ground, use the strength in the arm just to guide the leg back up towards the centre. Left hand takes control of the right knee, and we begin to twist over to our left side on the exhalation, but extend the right arm out to the right side, perpendicular to the body. Try to keep your right shoulder grounded and your upper back fairly flat to the earth. Option to turn your head to peek over your right shoulder. This isn't a challenge to get your right knee to the ground. We're just using that leg as a kind of tool to help us tug the pelvis so that it faces the left side, and we're continuing that little journey of the supine twist that we've been working thus far. As always, deepen at the bottom of the exhalation. We're just keeping a little bit of residual tension in the left hand, left forearm. And slowly beginning to move back towards the centre. Rock onto your back. Bring the left knee to meet the right and hug around the shins again, or around the tops of the knees. We can take a little rock side to side here and lift nose, forehead, chin to knee. Shrink as you release the breath. Then come back to stillness. Keep hold of your left knee. Let the right leg go long and down to the mat, and then draw little circles with your left foot, rotations at the ankle here, clockwise, anti-clockwise. And as we bring the foot to stillness, right hand to right hip, left hand takes control of your left knee, and then guide the knee slow and steady, big old circles, out and around and back up through the middle. Lovely, wholesome movement for the left hip. As we slow the movements down, guide the hip towards the outside, bring the blade of the left foot down to the earth. Left hand adjusts to the upper inner left thigh. And then again, let gravity do the work. Try to let everything go floppy. Normally a deep breath before expanding the ribcage, expanding the tummy, radiating out through the heart space. That normally helps. That prepares us. With the ensuing exhalation, we can really soften and let the body go. Start to command movement again to the left arm, left hand. Bring it underneath the left thigh. Press the elbow into the mat. And then use the strength in your arm to bring your leg up through the center again. Your right hand can take control of the left knee now. As we twist over to the right side, extend your left arm. Peek over the left shoulder. Twist to the right side. Try to make sure that we keep the left shoulder nice and floppy and loose, and hopefully grounded as well. So you want the upper back to be long and flat. And try and release tension from the right side of the body, from the upper arm or the shoulder. Just keep a little bit of tension in the fingers and the hand and the forearm. And make sure you're not tensing the glutes or the thigh, or maybe even in the groin, not squeezing the legs together and holding on. Make sure you deepen that twist on the outward breath. And then begin to return to that neutral position. Rock onto your back. Take hold of the left knee. Bring the right knee up and in to meet the left as well. We'll hug around the shins again. Perhaps gentle movement, a little massage of the lower back into the ground. And you can lift the head to change the way that you engage the lower back with the ground as well. When we activate the core in this position, it almost presses a little deeper into the earth. And then come back to stillness. Release the soles of the feet, hands down past the hips. We'll return to our Setu Bandha Chaturanga. So hips up to the sky for the bridge on the inward breath. Now if the shoulders feel available, it doesn't feel too early, you're always welcome to interlace the fingers underneath the body. Externally rotate the upper arm slightly, almost tuck the deltoid and the tricep underneath the scapula. So you're pushing the upper arm and part of the shoulder into the ground to help really broaden the heart space. You can lift nice and high as you inhale and push the navel and the pelvis right up. Or you can take it nice and soft. As we exhale, start to gently lower the hips back down and untuck the shoulder blades, softly release the bind. Send your arms wide and then drop the legs left to right, right to left. And we come back to the center. One by one, mindful of the lower back. Bring your knees up and in. So we'll have another hug here. Lift nose to knee or forehead to knee. Release the breath as you shrink. And then we'll take our Supta Hasta Padangusthasana on the right side. So right hand to right big toe. Or you might get a strap involved in this position, or a towel or a t-shirt. And as we begin to extend the right heel towards the sky, release head and shoulders and left leg to the ground. Left hand makes its way to your left hip. Again, little oval shapes we want to draw with the right heel here. So we're keeping the leg fairly stiff and long, but we're just shifting from an area where the foot's closer to us, the leg's closer, and the thigh's closer to the abdomen, and therefore the stretch is deeper. And then we soften it by moving it away slightly. That's what the purpose of these little dynamic movements are. So we're just preparing it for a deeper stretch. When we come back to stillness, take a deep breath, expand the entire upper body. And then as you release the breath, lift nose to knee, pull the leg in, left hand slides down the left thigh towards the left knee. And we're just using our left hand as a reminder to keep that left leg nice and long and keep your left heel grounded. Release your head and shoulders down to the mat. Bring your left hand back up to your left hip. And then open out to the right side. Slowly lower your extended leg. So we're opening the right hip here. Keep your left hand on your left hip. That's a reminder for you not to tip up too much onto your right side. You want to stay long and flat on the back. Guide the leg back up towards the sky. At the same time, slide your left foot up the mat and take a bend in the left leg. So similar to the position that we have when we go into a bridge, but instead, when the knee's up towards the sky, we release the right big toe and send the foot over the outside of the left knee. Stack the knees, the outside of the left calf. Left hand finds its way to the head of the right knee and extend the right arm perpendicular to the body out to the right side. We'll take a twist here. So release the breath. Sutta Parivritasana, twist over to your left side. Maybe revisit a very deliberate, deep inhalation. And then with the outward breath, beckon the arms, the shoulders, the thighs, the glutes, all of it to yield and go floppy and soft. Start to adjust the left hand, bring it under the legs. Try to press your elbow into the ground and use a bit of strength in the left arm to help ease your legs back up through the center. We'll untangle and follow that movement to the right side as we drop right to left, left to right. And then bring in the knees again, one by one, up and in for a hug. Slow and steady, mindful of our lower backs here. You can rock side to side to ease them deeper, then start to lift your head up towards them. And when we come to stillness, take hold of your left big toe with your left hand, that's Hasta Padangusthasana. And as you extend your left foot to the sky, release your right leg, right hand to the right hip, and head and shoulders back down to the ground. Remember, it's little oval shapes here, just to play with deepening the stretch and then softening out of the stretch. And as you come back to stillness, deep inhalation to expand. And as you release, then lift nose to knee, slide your right hand down the right thigh, pull the leg in. next outward breath, start to descend. Slide the right hand back up to your right hip and open your leg out towards the left side. With regular practice and with time, it's your job to try and find a sweet spot where you can almost soften that left leg and soften at the hip and release tension from the lower part of the body and just keep a firm grip with your left hand. And you'll probably notice actually quite a lot of activation in the forearm and working its way towards the left shoulder. Begin to guide your extended leg back towards the center, but slide your right foot up just to get a bend in that right knee as you do so. Then release your bind from Hasta and Pada and take your left foot over the back of the right knee, outside of the right calf. Right hand finds its way to the head of the left knee, and we inhale to extend our left arm and expand, and then we exhale to drop the legs over to the right side. A nice twist. Supta Parivrittasana. Parivritta means to revolve or twist. Supta, which sounds a bit like supine, not by any coincidence I'm sure, is reclined or lying down. Again, breathe nice and deeply. Revisit that expansion before we release the breath and soften and surrender. Let the body go loose and heavy. Begin to move the right hand, bring it underneath the legs. Use the strength in the arm to help bring the legs back up through the center. And then uncross to ground your left foot again and drop left to right, right to left. This time as we come back to stillness, bring the soles of your feet together, draw the heels in a little closer towards the tailbone, which will tuck as well to bring lower back into contact with the earth, or certainly as much as is available. Then let gravity do the work to pull on the knees and the thighs and open the hips, open the groin. Arms can stay nice and wide here, or you can bring the left hand onto your heart space, Anahat, and the right hand just below to Manipur. Whatever feels appropriate. We can choose to stay as we are for some time, or again using the hands, bring them underneath the thighs, press the elbows into the ground and use the strength in your arms to bring the knees to a close. And you can take movement here or keep the knees together and heel toe the feet wide out towards the outside of the mat to Give the hips a little bit of a counter position to close the pelvis. Or if the body feels ready, we can release the arms and legs length and width of the mat for our final position, our Shavasana, our final relaxation. Our journey through stillness. Now, as per usual, in true Andy fashion, I'm not great with time boundaries. If anyone needs to rush, it's 8 o'clock. But otherwise, we'll spend a few moments sinking down. As always, let the body guide you here through stillness. Not just the cessation of movement, but also finding that space between thought, between the fluctuations of thought. The spaces that exist at the peak of the inhalation and at the trough of the exhalation. Breathe into the body. Begin to discover gentle movement in the fingers and toes. In the hands and feet, at the ankles and the wrists. Start to find length through the legs and point your toes. Reach your arms over your head. As you inhale, stretch through the entire body. Lengthen your spine. And as you exhale, either turn softly to one side and take a moment there, or mindful of your lower back, bring your knees up and in for one last hug. Again, before turning softly through one side or gently rocking up into your seated position when you're ready. Let's breathe together one last time. Send the arms wide and high. Reach up to connect your palms above the head. And as we exhale, bringing hands to heart center for the Mahamrityunjaya. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugantim Pushtivardhanam Varukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshyama Mritat. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.